Hey there, and welcome to episode number 6 of Jovo Wednesday on Dabble Lab. This time we're going to talk about states. States are a pretty important concept when building voice apps with Jovo because they allow you to track which part of the conversation users are currently in. To demonstrate this, I want to create a new Jovo project with the Hello World template and extend it a little bit to show you how easy it is to run into problems when we're not using states. So to get started, go into your terminal. If you don't have the Jovo CLI installed, do npm install -g Jovo CLI. And if you have done that, create a new project with Jovo new, and then I'm going to use the name state demo. Okay, so go into the code of the project. For me in Visual Studio Code, and let's take a look at the logic in the source folder and in the app.js file. So as people who know the Jovo framework know, this is our sample Hello World project that just asks the users for their name, and if people respond with their name, it greets them and tells them it's nice to meet them. And so this is a pretty simple setup. It actually has just two intents, the Hello World intent and the my name is intent. And the my name is intent is triggered whenever someone says, I'm Jan, Chris, Samantha, and so on. But what happens if we need this intent twice in a row? And so, for example, if we imagine something like a gift finder, for example, that asks users for their name and then afterwards asks them for whom they want to find a present, for example. And so this would use the my name is intent twice, but this would have different meanings. And this is pretty difficult if you have this flat hierarchy. And so this is where it gets interesting and where we can use states. Let's add a question to this my name is intent. And so we could do something like create and then the name, and what is the name of your friend? And this would be an ask because we want to keep it open. So if we run this now, we can see how it looks like right now. And so, for example, we can use the Jovo development server to test the code locally, open it in the Jovo debugger, and try it out. And so if we launch it, it asks me for the name, and I can say something like Chris. Okay, and then it asks me for the name of my friend, and I could say something like Samantha. Okay, from seeing this, we need to find a way to make sure to track what question a person answered, and so which state the conversation is currently in. And for this, Jovo offers a few helper methods. And so let's get back into the code. What Jovo offers is something called a follow-up state method. And so, for example, we could give this call here, this response, we could give it a username state, and then ask and then ask the question. And so this means that this state is added to our response and then also added to the request that comes back after the person said something and answered with the names. And so we then know by knowing that it's in the username state that the person answered with their own name, and we can add this state by adding an object to this handler. And we could do this, for example. This means that we have that my name is intent here in the username state, and then also we can add a follow-up state here and say friend name state and respond differently there. And so, for example, we can copy this and call this friend name state, remove this here. That's a great name. And do something like this. It's a great name for a friend. And do a tell here. Okay, and so what we've done here is we get started with the hello world intent. We ask the user for their name and pass the state username state. And then with the next request, we see that the username state is still in the request. And if a my name is intent is triggered, this goes in there. There we ask the user for their friend's name and add the friend name state. And then in the next request, if a person answers with their name, it would go into the friend name state with a tail and it would close the session. Okay, so let's try that out. I forgot to add a comma here. Okay, so open it in the debugger again and try it out. If we type in launch, it will ask me for my name. Could be just Jan, for example. And then what's the name of your friend? Could be Sam. So, okay, so that worked. And so as you can see here, this request has no session data available. Here you can see that here as well, like on the request, it's empty the session data, and then it adds the Jovo state to the response. And so then the next request has the username state in the request. And so it is passed from our voice app back to Alexa, and Alexa keeps that in the session and then returns it back to our app in the next request. And so this is why we can take a look which state it is currently in, which you can also see here. And then in the next request, we have the friend name state. And that's it. And this is how you can use states in your voice apps to direct the conversation, to use this for multi-turn conversations and asking users for certain inputs, for example. And yeah, so that's it. You can take a look at how states work in our docs. And we also have a course called Adventure Game, which offers, which you can find here, which offers an introduction to states as well, which has a few more examples, including some illustrations that show why states are needed and how you can use states also in combination with the Jovo unhandled intent to require certain inputs. That's it. If you have any questions, let us know. And until then, see you next week for Jovo Wednesday on Dabble Lab.